Hi there, my name is Rico from Rico Crochet, and today I will be talking about 9 sweaters of which I really do like the yarn. Okay, so one of my previous videos was about yarns that I don't like, that kind of ruined the projects for me and I don't wear them. And today I want to do the opposite. So with me I have my 9 sweaters that I wear the most and of which I do like the yarn. Not saying all of these yarns are perfect, but I do deem them as acceptable and some of them even as good. And I think they are in different price ranges, which is also important to have affordable options as well. As I said, I have 9 ones. I think most of them are drops yarns, which is affordable, yay. But I also have some other brands and I will be going over them by brand as well. So first off, I'm going to start with the cheapest brand, which is Drops Yarns. I'm going to start with, I think it's my oldest sweater of all of the ones that I have with me. Yes, it's definitely the oldest. I started knitting in 2022, I think. Yeah, January of 2022. And I think I made this one in the fall of 2022, but I'm not entirely sure. This is the... Might also have been 2023, not sure. This is the Storm Sweater by Petiteknit. And I have made this in Drops Charisma. And I think the color is called like grape or something. This sweater has been worn a lot. This is my go-to sweater to put on if I don't know what to put on. Because it kind of feels like a sweatshirt. It has that slouchy look. I really like it. But the yarn does show some signs of wear. It does pill a little bit, not excessively, but mostly it fluffs up quite a lot, and it does that all over. So Drops Charisma is a superwash yarn, and when you buy it, it looks really almost merino-y. It has a little bit of a shine to it, and it is not fuzzy at all. But if you wear it, it does fuzz up. So I didn't hold mohair with this, by the way, and you can see, I don't know if that counts as like pilling or not. It does sometimes have actual like bubbles on it from pilling. They do come off quite easily. You can see there's like some pilling there, so it does pill a bit, but I feel like it's not excessively. And if I look at how much I wear this sweater, I do think it is an acceptable amount of pilling, especially for the price. Drops Charisma is really cheap. You can easily make an entire sweater out of this, I think for like 30-40 euros. Yeah, then I think it's worth it, but it is not the softest yarn. It is not scratchy, but it's rough. Now I don't mind, I can wear it against my neck, but I know a lot of people might not. So if you're looking for a soft yarn, this is definitely not it. But if you're looking for a cheap yarn that will last quite good, like if I depill it, it does look good, then it's amazing. And it's also, I think it's pretty good for showing structures. So that's the first one. Then on to the second one. This one I made in the spring of 2023. And it's also a Petiteknit pattern. This is my moby sweater. And I made this with Drops Soft Tweed. I like this yarn. This has also been worn a lot, like a lot. And I'll show, this is like the underarm. There's no pilling. There is no pilling at all. This is a wool, alpaca and viscose blend. And it doesn't pill. It doesn't pill. It doesn't shed, it keeps its shape, it's incredible. Now, this is not the softest yarn. Again, it's not scratchy, but it is a little bit rough on the skin, so I do prefer to wear a t-shirt underneath, but I can wear it next to skin. It's a bit more pricey than the Drops Charisma, but still very affordable. Holds up very well. One note to this though is that it does not grow that much with blocking, and so my sleeves are slightly on the short side, just because I assumed from previous projects that the sleeves would grow a little bit, and they did not. So that's one thing to think about, but in general, do really like this sweater, and it wears really, really well. On to our next drops yarn. This, it's not a Petiteknit pattern this time. This is my clematis sweater. I think I made this pretty shortly after the moby. And I made it with Drops Air. Drops Air is a blown yarn. I think it's like a nylon and then alpaca and merino, if I'm not mistaken. This yarn, at least to me, is really, really, really soft. It's really lightweight as well. Again, pretty affordable. It does pill a bit though. On like the elbows, I get like a tiny bit of pilling. But in general, it is okay. Of course, it has some fluffiness because it's a fluffy yarn. And I do really, really like to wear this. I like the feel of it. Can wear it next to skin easily. So I've had a good experience with it, but I have heard on my video about the bad yarns, I think, that someone mentioned that they got some discoloration with the Drops Air. Now I have it ever so slightly. Yeah, you can see that's the elbow. So I went to look after she mentioned that, and indeed I do have some discoloration. That white shine, that's the nylon sticking out. So this sweater has been worn that much that the fuzziness of the alpaca and the wool, which gets the green dye, has disappeared, and you can see the white nylon because apparently it didn't pick up the color very well. So that is something that you should know, but to me it doesn't bother me. Maybe because it only happens on the elbows for me. I don't have it anywhere else. And I don't really mind that much. The elbows are the place where it has pilled the most, so I think that, you know, those fibers have just come off, but it's not like empty nylon tube or anything. Still wears pretty well, I must say. Of course, this is again a cheaper yarn. It's not gonna last as long, maybe as a more expensive one, but I do still deem this as acceptable. And as I said, I think this is very soft, but I have seen someone on TikTok mention that some colors are not as soft. I don't have experience with it, but I think it's important to mention. So if you're looking for an affordable blown yarn, I definitely think Drops Air is good enough. I haven't tried any others, but I know that blown yarns can sometimes be really, really expensive. And I don't know if you will like get rid of the issues that Drops Air has in terms of the slight pilling and discoloration, which can be annoying if it's in like specific places. Okay, on to our last Drops yarn. This is the Perfect Sky sweater. It's a pattern by Drops Design. Now this yarn was gifted to me specifically to make this sweater by Drops. This is Drops Alpaca, held double, knit on 5mm needles. I made this, I think, about a year ago. I do really, really love this yarn in terms of how it wears. So I'll show like the elbows. It has some fuzziness because it's alpaca. It had that from the start, but I feel like this sweater doesn't really pill for me. I have never de-pilled this and I cannot find a single like pilling bubble on it. So it's great for that. It did shed a little bit in the beginning and as I was knitting it. So it's a black yarn. And if I was wearing something white or if I had been wearing like at my desk, I could find some black little pieces of yarn. But as I have worn it more, I feel like it sheds a lot less and it has never been like excessive shedding. So I think all in all this wears really, really well. Has a beautiful drape, which you would expect from alpaca, of course. However, this is not a particularly soft alpaca. I can kind of wear it next to skin, but it itches me a little bit. And one time I had one of the alpaca fluffs get stuck in my bra and that was so itchy. I was miserable for the entire day until I came home and could take it out. And I've not had that issue with other alpacas. So, you know, might be relevant, but I can still, like, I can tolerate it against my neck. I can definitely feel it, but I can tolerate it. But if you're sensitive, this yarn might not be for you, but I do think it wears really well and has a beautiful drape. So yeah, that's the last drops yarn. We're now gonna go on to lang yarns, because I have a few sweaters made with lang yarns. One important note, again, these yarns were gifted to me by lang yarns. So I feel like I have to say that. We're gonna start off with the first sweater, which I made a little bit over a year ago. This is the tulip loops sweater by Otherloops. And I made this with the Drops Merino Plus. So it's a little bit of a thick yarn. I knit this on 4.5mm needles. It is 100% merino. And I must say that Lang Yarns has very soft merino wool. I can easily wear this next to skin. Literally don't feel it. It feels like butter. It's incredible. This yarn has, you can see it has some pilling. I have never depilled it. I have worn it quite a lot. And I feel like this is an acceptable amount of pilling on a sweater. Yeah, I think it's okay. It is perfect to knit cables with because it shows texture amazingly, even in such a dark color. I've worn this a lot. One thing though, when you're working cables or ripped stitches, is this yarn has a lot of memory. You can see these like pillars are very close. I try to block them like this and they always go back. This sweater is supposed to be oversized and it always starts to suck back to my body as I am wearing it. So it has a lot of memory, which can be very nice for certain things, but kind of bothers me in this sweater. But I think that was just a wrong choice. Like I chose wrong for a sweater like this, but it does wear pretty well, definitely considering that it is very, very soft. And then following that, I also made the festival sweater. This is a pattern by Petiteknit, and this is made with the Lang Yarns Merino 120. So this is 120 meters. I think this one was 90 meters per 50 grams. This is the thinner version. There are also even thinner versions than this one. Same here in terms of softness. I think it is really, really soft, buttery soft. I can easily wear it against the skin. It was lovely to work with, I must say. And it only has, like very, very slight pilling, but barely any, I must say. Like I have to look to find some small bobbles and I can barely find any. The red yarn I used here is the Drops Charisma. You can see a difference in how fuzzy this has become and how the white yarn is looking. So I think this is working, like wearing amazingly. I also had a stain from eating spaghetti on one of the sleeves and it easily came off. I think these merinos are superwash though. So if you're not a fan of superwash, maybe it's not for you, because it does have a little bit of that shine that superwash yarns can have. But I really enjoy wearing this. I really enjoyed knitting with it as well, and they wear fantastically. But I think you're gonna be paying about double for these Lang Yarns merinos compared to a Drops Yarn merino equivalent. So do with that what you will, but I think I can make a sweater with the Lang Yarns merino for about 60 euros, which I think is still very acceptable for a sweater. Then the next yarn is the Lang Yarns Baby Alpaca. Now I held it together with a different yarn, so it's a bit more difficult to see in sweater form, but I also made a hood slash scarf. So this is the cardigan number 5 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And the brown yarn is the one that I'm talking about. It's the Lang Yarns Baby Alpaca. And I held it together with a Rico yarn. Now I have some pilling on this sweater, but this is a combination of white and brown, so it's like both yarns. And in general, if I'm looking, most of the pills on this sweater are from the white yarn. Yeah. So I do feel like the alpaca is wearing very well. And also in my Alex hoods, which is patterned from Pernille Larsen, I think, from Knitting for Olive. I have zero pilling on this, and I have worn it quite a bit. It has some fluffiness. It's alpaca, so I wanted the fluffiness. So it's wearing very well, and this is, I'm not kidding, the softest yarn I have ever used. This is a dream. It's almost buttery soft, but it's even softer than buttery soft. This is amazing. I can easily wear this against skin and I don't even feel that I'm wearing it. And I also lent this hood to my mom for a day. She's incredibly sensitive. Like a tiny bit of wool in something, she will feel it and she can't wear it. And she was able to wear this. She could feel that it had like an animal fiber in it, but she could wear it and it's like a scarf, so it's on your neck. And if she can tolerate it, I think everyone can tolerate it. So I love this yarn. One issue is this yarn is very, very pricey. Now again, this was gifted to me, so I didn't have to pay for it. But I don't think I will be able to afford a sweater quantity of this very soon. And also, I think it's like a fingering weight yarn. So you would either have to hold it double or hold something else with it, but I wouldn't know what is soft enough to hold with this. I think that would kind of ruin the softness of this yarn. So I don't know if I'm gonna be like use it again anytime in the future. I really want to because it's really soft, and I don't know if they have any thicker versions. But if you're looking for the softest alpaca yarn, I think this is it. I really think this is it, and it also wears well. Because softer yarns sometimes tend to wear less good, but this one wears beautifully and it's incredibly soft. So you pay a lot, but you also get a lot. So, and this sweater, it is less soft than the hood because of the other yarn, the merino, that I have put in there. But I still like this yarn combination and I still wear the cardigan. Next, we're going to a different brand now. We're going to Rico Design. Now, as I mentioned, the merino in here is Rico Designs. I think it's baby merino. And here I have the Rico Design Essentials Merino DK. And I think they're somewhat similar, and this is just like the thicker version. This yarn is very close to Lang Yarns in terms of pricing. I think it's like 50 cents cheaper per ball than the Lang Yarns Merino 120, and this is also 120 meters if I'm not mistaken. So it's the same meterage and it is slightly cheaper, and for a sweater I think it's gonna be maybe like €5 of difference. But I prefer the Lang Yarns. So this sweater I made, I think I finished it last January, I think the beginning of January. And this one I made in the summer, so I've only had this for a few months, and it already has, you can see it on camera I think, but I can see it in person that this already has more pilling than the Lang Yarns one does, especially on the underarms, but they're like tiny pills so you can't really see them that clearly. But I've only had this sweater for like half of the time that I've had the Lang Yarns one, and it has already pilled more, and it is far from being as soft. This, I would almost say this is, it's not scratchy, but it is rough. And I also think this is a superwash merino. They look fairly similar, but this is definitely more rough than the Lang Yarns. I did buy this one with my own money. I bought it secondhand from Vinted. I'm not saying it's a bad yarn, not at all. I do think it worked out beautifully and it does feel fairly good against skin. It doesn't shed excessively or like pill excessively, but it does pill more than the line yarns, and for a sweater you're barely gonna be paying less for this. And I think I would rather pay €5 more for something that is softer and will last longer, compared to the €5 less that will then pill faster and not be as soft. But I got this on a reduced price because I got it from Vinted, and then it is worth it again. But I don't think I would pay full price for this yarn. I would rather pay full price for the line yarns. But that might be my opinion. Other people might disagree. But yeah, I just feel like it's not as good. And if it's that close in pricing, then I don't really like it. Because like for the drops yarn, the drops charisma, for example, like it obviously pills more. I've had it for longer, but it pills more. But it is that much cheaper. Then I'm like, yeah, what did you expect? Then it is acceptable to me that it pills a bit more. But if I'm paying a bit more, I want it to last a very long time and feel better on the skin. And I feel like I have that quality more with line yarns compared to this Rico design yarns. But I am speaking for the merino ones. I don't have experience with other Rico design yarns. I only know like 2 line yarns, like the baby alpaca and the merino. So I can't speak for all of their versions, but comparing the merinos, I do prefer the line yarns. So that's, as I mentioned, that's the only Rico design yarn that I have. And then we're going to a recent cast off. This is my porcelain sweater by LEKNIT. I think this is my coolest knit ever. I have finished this, I think, about a month and a half ago. So this has not gotten that much wear. I cannot say much about longevity of this yarn. What I can say is I have worn this quite a lot in the past month and a half. I have worn it a lot under jackets. It has gotten wet already a little bit. I've worn it like under my rain jackets, as I was cycling, as I was sweating, all that good stuff. And it is still looking very good. I think I've had like 3 or 4 like bubbles that I was able to just pick up. But in general, I think I have worn this almost as much as I have worn this sweater. Oh, this is a storm cardigan by cookietheknitter, by the way, if I forgot to say that. Anyway, I think I've worn it almost as much, and definitely in harsher conditions. And it is holding up very, very well. I am really liking it so far. Of course, only had it for a month and a half. Don't know how it will behave over the years, but I do really like it. This is made with BC Garn BO Shetland, which I think is a fingering weight yarn, and I held it double. And it has like a natural little halo. It's not the same as when you're holding mohair with it, but it gives that little bit of fuzziness, and I do really like that look because I don't like mohair. This is a Shetland wool. It is very warm, like very warm. This is like double as warm as most of my sweaters, even though it's just knit on 4mm needles. But it is, to a lot of people, not the softest yarn. I can easily wear this against skin. I wouldn't say it's soft, it's not scratchy, it's a bit rough maybe. My boyfriend thinks it's soft, like incredibly soft. I think he has like 0 wool sensitivity or anything. So he thinks it's soft. My mom, like holding her hand close to it, so not even touching it, just holding it close, she already thinks like, oh my god, that's awful. So this is definitely a yarn that you need to feel for yourself. It slightly softens up with washing it, but it's not a huge difference. So if you're in store and you feel this and you think, oh my god, that's so scratchy, then it's gonna stay scratchy for you. Then maybe don't buy it. I think I do really like this yarn, and I think in terms of pricing, it is a similar pricing as the merino if you're like taking a full sweater quantity, because this has 280 meters per 50 grams, and I think it was like €7. But if you want to knit it on like 4mm needles, you're gonna have to hold it double. So say like €7 for 140 meters, something like that. And this, I think it's 6 or 7. 6, I think, for 120. So it's in the same price range. Completely different yarn, but I do like this one so far. If you have any different experiences with it, please do let me know. And I did experience, but I can't show it on camera because it's not that obvious, but I did experience some very, very slight color bleeding. This is a very, very blue yarn, and of course I'm using a white yarn, and I have some stitches that have slight discoloration, but it's very, very little. It's only a few stitches. It didn't bleed outside of the colorwork section, so it doesn't bother me, but when looking at it very closely I can see a few stitches that had some bleeding. So, you know, if you want to do colorwork with this, be careful. I also have heard that red yarns can bleed even more than like blue yarns and stuff. So if you're thinking of making like a Christmas sweater with like the typical white and red, do a gauge swatch, wash that as you would wash the sweater, and see if you have any color bleeding. And if you do, I heard vinegar can help. I haven't tried that, but I do think that is something to look out for with this yarn and with many other yarns as well. But yeah, that is it in terms of my favorite yarns slash favorite sweaters. As I said, I wear all of these a lot. They get a lot of wear, and I think every yarn is gonna show some wear. I think that's normal, but if you're putting in a lot of time and money in your projects, you want them to last a long time. I think in general, my more expensive sweaters do wear better than my cheaper sweaters, aside from my moby. My moby's incredible. You don't see any wear on her. But in general, I do think the pricier yarns that I have, at least, do show less wear, but of course that's not going to be the case for all of the yarns. I also use mostly wool and merinos. Like, typically wool is going to wear quite well, definitely if it's like a more rustic wool like this one. But I must say, the softest is not always the weakest, because I think this yarn proves that wrong. But yeah, anyway, if you use any of these yarns and you had a different experience with them, or you also really like them, please do let me know down in the comments. If you have any other yarns that you recommend, please do let me know, because I'm always on the look for new yarns. Because I don't like to reuse yarns. I want a different experience, and I want to find the best yarn out there, for me at least. So yeah, that was it. I think I'm also gonna make a video about my favorite sock yarns, because I have used quite a few. And let me know what else you would like to see from me. And for now, thank you for watching. Please do consider liking and subscribing, and leaving a comment about what you're making and what your favorite yarns are. I'm not sure when I'm gonna post this video, but I think I'm gonna post it right before the holidays. So happy holidays, whatever religion you're from, or if you're an atheist. I'm an atheist, but I still do Christmas because of my family. Whatever holidays you have, or if you don't have holidays, enjoy the end of December and the New Year's. And of course, happy knitting, and I hope you all have a wonderful experience in 2026 as well with everything and your knitting. Anyways, that was it for today. Bye!